Can you dance? I can't. Well, I can, but I end up looking like Elaine from Seinfeld. Maybe I can get some pointers from the new Netflix original series, Tiny Pretty Things. I'm definitely going to have to limber up first, though. In an elite ballet academy, hopeful dancers navigate pressure, drama, and mystery as they strive for greatness. This series is based on a book, and I haven't read it, and I don't think I'm really going to either. This is a 10-episode first season, and it's filled with drama, mystery, and dance. Well, let's be honest. It's filled with a lot of drama and a ton of dance, and supposedly there's a mystery in there someplace. This is kind of a sick and twisted show. The display of family dynamics and values is pretty jacked up. There are parents who use their children for gainful purposes, adults who knowingly exploit the dancers, and there's consistent backstabbing from many of the characters. This looks and feels like it's geared towards teens, but I don't think it's really made for them. The series models selfish and hurtful behaviors, and I understand that that happens all the time in real life, but it's so concentrated here that it becomes the main focus, and not as a cautionary tale. There's even a portion of the show that highlights and then almost glorifies body shaming. There's a dancer who is in incredible shape, but he's teased and taunted because he gained 3 pounds of muscle. And he is not chubby at all. I mean, there is zero chubbiness on this dude. He is ripped, yet he's still called fat. And like our kids, or really anybody, needs to have that kind of negative reinforcement. There's an underlying mystery that's going on throughout the show. A tragedy took place, and now there's an investigation going on to figure out what happened. The mystery gets lost a bit in all the drama, and then the way that it's investigated is just silly. There's a beat cop who is first on the scene at the tragedy, and she then takes it upon herself to begin investigating and interrogating students, people at the school, witnesses, all of these things. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I'm fine with her investigating, but make her a detective. Then it will ring true. And she's got her own baggage that plays into her motivations as well. I wish, though, that she was just convincing as an investigator, and then that they would make her a detective, because then it becomes more plausible of an entire situation. If you like dancing, you're going to get a ton of it. Now, sometimes the dance scenes feel like they're filler and they're unnecessary. The directors and the writers must have been huge dance fans in order to place such long dance numbers in scenes that don't move the story along. But much of the dancing is really good. I mean, the actors are really convincing in the choreography. And I don't know if they're real-life dancers or if they've just had a ton of training, but they pull it off really well. There is one dance scene, though, that made me laugh out loud, and that is the complete opposite emotional reaction that the scene was going for. It was during a time of grief, and this dance just breaks out. And to me, it was just overly melodramatic and just so, it was cheesy to me. And it literally made me laugh out loud. I'm like, what in the world am I watching right now? The soundtrack is probably one of the best features of the entire show. There's so many wonderful songs that play, and a lot of them I'm not familiar with, but I'm certainly adding them to my playlist. Many of our characters are supposed to be sympathetic, but they're such terrible people that whenever you start to feel a slight bit of connection to them, they go and ruin it with disgusting behavior towards others. There's a storyline in this that makes a big deal about the exploitation of underage girls. And that's something I can get behind. That condemnation that they are pushing, totally on board with that. But my problem is they then show us a ton of sex scenes throughout the show with both these supposedly underage girls and even guys, and that makes us, as the audience, complicit. We are guilty of doing the exact same thing that they're trying to condemn. The show feels uneven in its presentation. Sometimes there's urgency, other times there's none. Even the mystery itself feels forgotten at times. I do like, however, though, that the tension really begins to ramp up in the last 2 episodes. In those 2 episodes there, they find their urgency. They find their stride. They begin to really push forward and make it kind of exciting. There's a character in this who goes on a bit of a crusade, and I can kind of get behind their cause. But their behaviors are so back and forth that sometimes it really does seem like their cause is not a noble one, that it's really more out of selfish gain that they're doing everything. So ultimately, this isn't a show that I can get behind. I mean, I know what they're trying to accomplish. I know what they're trying to go for. And there are even some aspects of the show that I enjoyed. But the disgusting display of selfishness and just cruel behavior really turns me off. And so it becomes super hard for me to recommend anybody watching this. There's a lot of sex, nudity, profanity, and some violence. I give Tiny Pretty Things 1 out of 5 couches. Do you have a favorite show or movie involving dance? I still love the original Footloose, but I am totally down to watch Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo again. But I'd love to know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me. Ooh, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Yeah, they don't do that kind of dance. That's about what I can do. Or that whole... I almost kicked the camera right there. That wouldn't have been good.